each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Sober Freaky Friday. My camera is way off, isn't it? There we go. Yoink. There. Now it's where it's supposed to be. Where it's supposed to be. I was just listening to Fat Bottom Girls. Love that song. Get on your bikes and ride. Hi, Amber. Hi, Michelle. Amber says, I forfeit my headphones so all of Walmart gets to hear you. Yay. Yay, Walmart. Hey, we've got some new music here from Restream. Shall we listen to it a little bit? How about I just talk to it? I'll skip it. Let's skip on you. Should I do the whole show with this? Here's New Year. Here's New Year one. Should I do the whole show? The fuck is that? Oh God, no. Oh my God, why do I feel like I need to be on drugs? Okay, no thank you. Michelle says, at Amber, maybe you'll pass an alcoholic who needs to hear this. I'll make sure I talk louder. I am Matt Lauda. Oh, happy Friday, everybody. Hope you had a good week. Got another 6 days till Christmas, right? You're almost there. Keep up the good work. All right? Keep up the good work. Would have been here earlier, but yeah. I woke up a little bit later. Not on purpose this time, but I must have needed it. And then I had a sponsee at noon. I love it when sponsees start the 4-step, man. I do. That's the I don't want to say fun part, but it is for the sponsor. It kind of is because I did mine, so I don't. All right, good old 4-step. But when they're enthusiastic, they're wanting to get better, they're asking good questions and stuff. It just puts a smile on my face, man. You know, when I was drinking and before I did the work, if other people were improving their lives, I got a little jealous. I would, I would get jealous, man. Now watching other people grow because I've done the work and I know who I am and I have a little bit of self-esteem and self-worth. Man, I love it. Just knowing that maybe something I said is helping another person. And it's nice to hear, hey, thanks for taking your, to recognize that you're taking your personal time to help somebody out. And not so that I feel good about myself, but so that they understand that freely receive or freely given or freely receive, freely give away, right? That concept and knowing that part's going to be passed on is the joy that I get from working with other people. All right. So cool stuff. We had another good group conscious last night. Thank God we didn't have any major decisions because I just, I don't know. And I shouldn't have signed up to chair on the group conscious day, but that was on me. I'm the one that did that, right? So, all right. I thought these were jokes, but it's like dimension test quiz, credit card debt relief. Okay. No. Okay. All right. Don't worry, I'll get this set up one day to where I have it there. We're gonna be covering. Darn it! I did not change the title. Or org. Actually, I'm pretty sure I did. Did it not change in? Yeah, it didn't change that either. Darn it. Ugh, I'm so sorry. It didn't change the description either. I must have. Oh, I know what I did wrong. And it wasn't Restream, it was me. All right. Well, I'm going to update it anyway. There. Now we're going to talk about living in the now. But it won't go out that way. Oh, some stream details failed to update. It won't. It's not going to update. It's currently live. So, hey, it happens. It happens. So, it won't be tough. I just need to go. I'll just go to Facebook and change the title and stuff after I'm done. So, yes. Huh? You want to come see Dad? It is. It is your time for pets. So, all right. You know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? It is 1:35, but it is also time for Dion's Daily Funnies. Right. Yes, Sawyer, I hear you. I hear you, Sawyer. All right. All right. There. All right. Wow. Bless you. I think even my listeners heard that one. They didn't. You can only hear me speaking right into the. All right. I guys in here. Well, I didn't fix the camera. I got to fix my camera here first. Look at all this stuff that I'm having to. There we go. All right. Really, it is time for Dion's Daily Funnies. All right. After an unsuccessful harvest, why did the farmer decide to try a career in music? Because he had a bunch of sick beats, man. Yeah. All right. As long as he doesn't mumble rap, then we're good. All right. I only seem to get sick on weekdays. I must have a weekend immune system. A weekend. Right. Yeah. My friend was showing me his tool shed and pointed to the ladder. That's my step ladder, he said. I never knew my real ladder. Never knew my real ladder. Poor guy. What do you call a Frenchman wearing flip-flops? Philippe flop. All right, one more. One more. Are you enjoying these? All right. Why is it so cheap to throw a party at a haunted house? Because the ghosts bring all the booze. Yeah. Yeah. What kind of, but as an alcoholic, did it run through your head too? But do they bring enough booze? That's, can I trust the ghost to bring enough booze for Dion? Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I am here with my lap cat, Sebastian. Say hi, Bastian. Hi. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. You want down? Okay, but you're going to jump on him. There you go. Okay. And then I'll start a fight. Go do something, Sawyer, seriously. I know it means he loves me because he's sitting there staring at me, but it's annoying. So, all right. So, today we're talking about living in the now, and we're going to be reading out of Living Sober. I don't have the actual book myself. It's been a while since I needed the Living Sober book, but if you want to buy it so I can cover it for everybody, I am happy to receive it. All right. I'm happy to accept any gifts you would like to send my way unless it is a bag of poop. All right. That joke was more for Isaac than anybody else, but I don't know if he can hear me. That was so cute yesterday. Amber stopped by. She was with Isaac. And yeah, he's like one of my longest listeners. He's my youngest listener and one of my long time. I'm like, you know me. You have to hear me every day. I think we're a lot closer. We thought it's just wholesome and cute. And so thank you for that experience, Amber. I appreciated that. And thank you for being such a good friend. Um, all right. And you too, Michelle. I appreciate you being a good friend of mine too. Um, you're always there for there's some people that are sometimes I feel a little guilty because, you show up to everything that I do. Okay. I don't expect you always to, but I do appreciate that you are here, that you are consistent. There's something about loyalty that makes me love people more. Right. So we're going to read the daily reflection first, and it's actually from June 9th. It was just sitting there. I was going to do a different one, but it was just sitting there. And it's like living in the now. I'm like, that's what I'm supposed to be talking about today. That was it. All right. So living in the now. First, we try living in the now just in order to stay sober, and it works. It really does. Okay. Notice they're not even saying the 24 hours. Just now. You have to stay sober just right now. All right. So it doesn't feel so overwhelming. Once the idea has become a part of our thinking, we find that living in a 24-hour segments is an effective and satisfying way to handle many other matters as well. Living sober, page 7. And that's where we're going to get to here shortly. All right. So, yeah, in the beginning, 24 hours may seem like a little too much also. So you can break that down into segments if you want to. Absolutely, you can. All right. If you have an urge to drink, they usually last about 70 seconds. So if you can get past that 70 seconds without creating, an obsession, then you're off to a good start. It has been a long time since I've every now and again I'll see somebody drinking, maybe a Stella Artois. I'll be like, "Ooh, that sounds good." It but that's as far as it goes anymore. That sounds good, you know. But a lot of things sound good. I'm not going out to the store to get those either. All right. Whoa, man, it made it huge. Oh, you can't read that. It made it huge. All right. So, one day at a time to the newcomer. To a newcomer, this and other one-liners of AA may seem ridiculous. Yeah, you are not going to like the slogans when you first come into the program. In fact, you're really not going to like them. And it's okay. We all kind of went through it. We go through the slogans. We're like, man, gosh, it feels silly, So we get it. We've been there, right? The passwords of the AA fellowship can become lifelines in moments of stress. Each day can be like a rose unfurling according to the plan of a power greater than myself. My program should be planted in the right location, just as it will need to be groomed, nourished, and protected from disease. My planting will require patience, and my realizing that some flowers will be more perfect than others. Each stage of the petals unfolding can bring wonder and delight if I do not interfere or let my expectations override my acceptance, and this brings serenity. Now, really, is this one flower more perfect than the other? Because that's going to be perception. That's going to be, I might think that the other flower is better than the other one. It's going to be perception, all right? The key is we're not going to try and determine those things anymore. We may see something, but then what we need to do is see the forest for the trees, right? Sometimes somebody might present something to you that you have done wrong, and you're going to be defiant right off the bat. I know I get that way, all right? Um, but I think on a little bit, Dion, why are you being defiant about this? Well, it's just maybe it was an intrusive thought, the first thought. I never really go by that first thought. Um, you know, but we have to ask ourselves why so we can get down to a solution, right? Even recently, some people accused me of something that I didn't do, and that's one thing that an alcoholic really hates, being accused of something they didn't do. You know, this time I actually didn't do it. Right? So, but I still had to learn from that. And we're going to make mistakes, right? So it's about recognizing those mistakes and then presenting them the right way. But we're going to talk about living in the now and why it is so important. Now, in this, we're talking living sober. So they're going to talk about the newness part. But a day at a time program works for all of my problems. Why? So I can live in the now. Because if I'm living in the past or thinking about the future, then I'm going to miss out what's going on right now. And right now, there's direction going on, there's beauty going on, there's spiritual experiences. I'm going to miss what is happening now. Right? So we can't live in the shoulda, coulda, wouldas or the what ifs. These are two places we can't live. Right? The key here is you can plan the plan, but you can't plan the result. Don't be the person that's like, hey, do you want to go do something tomorrow? Well, tomorrow ain't here yet. Don't be that person. Okay. If you don't want to go, just say no. Quit using that as a reason not to make plans. Because that's what you're doing. You're trying to be terminally unique. You're taking it to an extreme and you know it. All right. So, using the 24-hour plan in our drinking days, we often had such bad times that we swore never again. We took pledges for as long as a year or promised someone we would not touch the stuff for 3 weeks or 3 months. And of course, we tried going on the wagon for various periods of time. We're absolutely sincere when we voice these declarations through gritted teeth. We were. That's the hard part. Okay. That's how I explain it because it was true. I would sit there and tell you that I was planning on quitting drinking while putting on my shoes to go to the liquor store. I didn't realize I was putting on my shoes to go to the liquor store, but I was. Yeah. But I meant it. That's the hard part. We do mean it. And sometimes we'll get some time under our belt, right? And good job. Good job for you. I could never do that. I couldn't do it. I was in jail for 6 months once. That was as close as I came. Right? That's as close as I came. All right. But I didn't want more jail time. So I stayed away from the alcohol and stuff while I was, all right. So we were absolutely sincere when we voiced these declarations through gritted teeth with all of our hearts. We wanted never to be drunk again. We were determined. We swore off drinking altogether, intending to stay off alcohol well into some indefinite future. Yet, despite our intentions, the outcome was almost inevitably the same. Eventually, the memories of the vows and the suffering that led to them faded. We drank again and wound up in more trouble. Our dry forever had not lasted very long, right? So, an alcoholic's forgetter works the best. I know mine does, and it still happens to me. It still happens, right? I will forget. Even just yesterday, we are trying to figure out when they're picking up the when my daughter's going to pick up the grandkids. And I said, maybe we should set a time for pickup also. Or did we already do that? Because I couldn't remember. And yes, we had. We had already done that. Okay. My wife has to remind me often of things that, that I've said. And it's okay. Right. It's all right. I have lost some things due to my drinking that I'm never going to get back, like being able to process, remembering things. My short-term memory isn't as good as it used to be. All right. So, some of us who took such pledges had private reservations. Okay. We call them lurking notions, right? We told ourselves that the promise not to drink applied only to hard stuff, not to beer or wine. I've never went through that differentiate. Alcohol was alcohol to me. It was just how much did I need? right? And I did not ever try and control my drinking. I knew I was an alcoholic at the age of 14, and this was my thought. If you're going to call me, I'm going to show you alcoholic. I'll show you alcoholic. Yeah. I utilized my defiance. I took it as a challenge. Right. Which is just, that means I drank on the fuckets always, which is more dangerous than this portion right here. I do not recommend it. Right. But people do go through. I know a lot of people that have gone through this. So I'm just saying there's varying ways that take what you need and leave the rest, right? There we go. In that way, we learned, if we did not already know it, that beer and wine could get us drunk too. We just had to drink more of them to get the same effects we got on distilled spirits. We wound up We wound up as drunk on beer or wine as we had been before on the hard stuff. And then this is usually what happens. You know what? This beer and stuff, now you got to pee all the time. So we go back to the hard liquor because it's making you pee all the time. What a horrible excuse. Yeah. It's probably the number one excuse I've heard from leaving beer and wine and going back to the hard stuff. Yes, others of us did give up alcohol completely and did keep our pledges exactly as promised until the time was up. Michelle asked, "Do you agree almost all alcoholics are defiant?" I do not agree that almost all. I agree that all alcoholics are defiant. All of them. Every single one. It's a main, it is the number one characteristic of an alcoholic. So yes, I do agree. I would agree with that. Now, keep in mind that is opinion only, and that is from my own perception. There's nothing clinical about that, but my experience is fact. So I believe that. Yeah, we're also extremely sensitive, childish. Do I still have defiance now? Of course I do. They come in intrusive thoughts. Right. So absolutely great question. Thank you, Michelle. So then the time was up. Then we ended the drought by drinking again, and we were soon right back in trouble with the additional load of new guilt and remorse. With such struggles behind us now in AA, we try to avoid the expressions on the wagon and taking a pledge. They remind us of our failures. See, there's some things we don't talk about in AA. Are you on the water wagon? So because here's the thing: when people bring up "Are you on the wagon?" to me, I'm like, I'm almost 10 years sober. You clearly have no idea what I've been doing, and they're not required to. All right. My mother-in-law will never ever accept the fact that I am actually sober. Okay, her perception is different. She's had a lot of people in her life with addiction problems, and they go to AA and they continue to fail. So her experience is that this doesn't work. That's her perception, right? So, although we realize that alcoholism is a permanent, irreversible condition, our experiences taught us to make no long-term promises about staying sober. We have found it more realistic and more successful to say, "I'm not taking a drink just for today." Now, in the beginning, you might say this to a normie, and by normie, I mean non-alcoholic. There, I've clarified it, so I don't want to hear it if I say it again here. Okay. Normies don't see it that way. Okay. They want to know that a week from now that you're going to be sorry. So that's not your problem. That part is not your problem. You just stay sober today. Okay. If you're having a hard time and you really want to go drink, go to bed. Just go lay down. You'll wake up feeling different. And then you'll be, because I can tell you something. I have never woken up and wish I had drank the night before. But there's been plenty of times when I woke up and regretted drinking the night before. There's also been plenty of times when I've woken up. In fact, it's happened every day for the last 9.5 years where I woke up and was happy I did not drink the night before. It happens to me every day. And it's part of what keeps me going. I don't have to worry about staying sober next week. It's not here. I'm here now. Am I sober right now? I am. That's what matters. Day at a time program. All right. Even if we drank yesterday, we can plan not to drink today. Yep. Maybe had a slip. We may drink tomorrow. Who knows whether we'll even be alive then? But for this 24 hours, we decide not to drink, no matter what the temptation or provocation. We determine to go to any extremes necessary to avoid a drink today. Okay. Do something different. Go for a walk. Go to do something. Go clean your car. Go clean out the garage. Sweep the driveway. Maybe it doesn't need to be done, but go do it anyway. Keep yourself busy. The saying is, idle hands are the devil's plaything. And how true for alcoholics. Because for us, we're being tempted. Okay. And there's temptation everywhere. See, alcoholism, and here it is a little different. All right. It's everywhere. It doesn't matter where we go. If you have a meth habit, you don't walk into 7-Eleven and get tempted. We do. Going down street, TV shows, everything, because it's so widely accepted. So we're going to have to work on becoming neutral to alcohol. Let's talk about Overeaters Anonymous. Okay. Because you have to eat to stay alive. Imagine having to do that. See, there's a hard part to every single one, right? For us alcoholics, so that's where it's a little different. Our friends and families are understandably wary of hearing us vow, this time I really mean it, only to see us lurch home loaded. So we do not promise them or even each other not to drink. Each of us promises only himself or himself. It is, after all, our own health and life at stake. We are not our family or friends. We have to take the necessary steps to stay well. I have a friend who's been going through a hard time the last, I don't know, it's been a while. Almost all year they've been having a hard time. And I'd go to a meeting and hear them. And what they would say is this, that they said, I cannot make a promise that I will stay sober for the rest of my life, but I am going to commit to the fact that I will stay sober until I see you guys next in that 24-hour period. And that's something I really appreciated. Yeah. And it helped. It worked. They're still around. Things are starting to go a little bit better now. Right? So it's that 24 hours. And what did that do? It allowed them to continue being in the now and being a part of the meeting, to be able to participate and do service work and stuff, right? Yeah. And this person has time under their belt. So if the desire to drink is really strong, many of us chop the 24 hours down into smaller parts. We decide not to drink for, say, at least 1 hour. We can endure the temporary discomfort of not drinking for just one more hour, then one more, and so on. Many of us began to recovery in just this way. In fact, every recovery from alcoholism began with 1 sober hour. Every single one of us started with 1 hour of sobriety, 1 minute, 1 day, 1 month, 1 year. All right. These 24s start to add up after a little while. And if you put your blinders on, stay focused on the program, and stay consistent, AA is going to fill up your time. Right. Now, I also hear this too. People quit drinking, all of a sudden they're just too busy for anything. Oh, now that I'm sober, I've got to catch up on everything. And they'll go to meetings, but they don't do service work. They're not. And when we miss these other things, just working the steps will not keep you sober. You've also had to have service work in there, traditions. There are other things that you need. Half measures will avail you nothing. We are an action program. We are about action. What is the next thing that needs to be done? All right. One version of this is simply positioning the next drink. How about it? Still sipping soda? Have you really postponed that drink we mentioned on the back page of one? If so, this can be the beginning of your recovery. The next drink will be available later, but right now, we postpone taking it for at least the present or moment, say for the rest of this page. Yeah, stay sober for the rest of this page. You can break it down. Okay. We're almost done with this part, and I'm going to get into a couple other things. 31 minutes. Okay, good. All right. The 24-hour plan is very flexible. We can start it afresh at any time wherever we go. All right. Now they're bringing up that when you live a day at a time, do you want to know one of the gifts for it? Then you get to start your day over anytime you want. And you can do that for any reason. Any reason that you want. It doesn't have to include alcohol. You can go change your day right now if that's what you want. And how do you start your day over? Well, pray. Pray. God, I need to start my day over. Okay. What do you need me to do? Do you need me to do something? Okay. Ask your tummy. I know. It's weird. Ask your tummy. What do you want to do? Do you want to do this? Good feeling. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Bad feeling. Yeah, I probably shouldn't go there. See? Because like you might be, okay, I'd go to the liquor store. You already got that bad feeling in your stomach and you need to listen to it. That's your intuition saying no. Even though your brain's going, oh yeah, 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 that's exactly what we need. Oh yeah, yeah. Don't listen to that. In the beginning, your brain is your enemy. Wait till you get to step 10, then you can use your brain again, okay? All right, your sponsor will cover that. The 24-hour plan is very flexible. At home, at work, in a bar, or in a hospital room at 4 p.m. or 3 a.m., we can decide right then not to take a drink during the forthcoming 24 hours or 5 minutes. Yeah, so the 24 hours doesn't need to start at midnight. It could be 11 o'clock in the morning, right? Continually renewed, this plan avoids the weaknesses of such methods as going on the wagon or taking a pledge. A period on the wagon and a pledge both eventually came, as planned, to an end. So we felt free to drink again. But today is always here. Life is daily. Today is all we have, and anybody can go one day without drinking. I would agree with that. Even I could, if I really wanted it. That was the key for me. What I did is I kept taking away my freedom by going to detox. I knew eventually I'd give it up if I did that. Because the one thing that I hate is taking away my freedom, even though I have not done anything wrong. Or I guess not necessarily wrong, but illegal. Right. And I've been in, but I have a clean record. I've I've never been in, I have never committed a felony and got caught. Or I didn't commit many of them. Mostly driving without a license. That's as bad as I got with that. There are other parts though where it's the not getting caught part. I'll just say that because if I go into it, then I sound like I'm bragging and war stories, and we don't need that crap. Yeah, you have your own war stories, and I'm sure there's a lot like mine. First, we try living in the now just in order to stay sober, and it works. Once the idea has become a part of our thinking, we find that living in 24-hour segments is an effective and satisfying way to handle many other matters as well. Right? So now that we've talked about the beginning of sobriety, right? We have talked about the beginning of sobriety and how we utilize one day at a time. So, how do we continue utilizing that? What are some other ways? We're gonna get into some mental illnesses probably here a little bit. Did you know that working a day at a time also helps with my anxiety, my PTSD, and my depression? I utilized one day at a time, one moment at a time for that also. And it works. Okay, I'm uncomfortable right now, but this is going to pass. This too shall pass. And that seems to alleviate a lot of things. The hardest one that for me to get out of is my depression. That's the hardest one. So most of our pain isn't happening right now. It's happening in our head, right? That's PTSD. I'm not sure why ChatGPT went that way. I'm not sure. All right. So why do we avoid living in the present? Because the past brings regret, shame, and guilt, something that we seem to like to hold on to. These are our excuses to drink. That's why we wouldn't want them. See, until we are willing to go to any length to stay sober, we will utilize we will avoid living in the present so that we have reasons to drink. Well, if this happened to you, you'd drink too. And yeah, but that was 20 years ago, Tia. Why are we living there? Right? What else do we? The future brings fear, anxiety, and control. Lack of control. Yeah, fear. What's the first fear? I have to stay sober the rest of my life. That's the big one. And I'll answer it. No, you do not. You just need to stay sober today. See? You just need to stay sober today. Don't worry about tomorrow. It ain't here yet. Right? So, how does it pull us out of it now? Addiction we use to escape our feelings, right? But let's get to I'd say the more positive things, because it's bringing up the problem right now, and we already know the problem. So let's get to the solution. All right. So there's a difference, and what we're working with here is awareness or avoidance, right? So we're going to stop avoiding our problems, and we're going to meet them head on. I call this facing the snakes. So when we live in the present moment, okay, there is only one point in time where God is. Now, God is not in the past or the future. It is right now. Happiness, joy, gratitude, these things can only happen in the now. There is no other time. All right. You might think back to something that made you feel good, but it still isn't happening right now. So, what else does it? What else lives in the now? Faith lives in the now. Faith without works is dead, right? So if I'm not living in the now, then I'm not really utilizing my faith. I'm doubting. I'm what ifing. I'm asking God why. And I was taught that when we ask God why, we are arguing with him. And I cannot disagree with that. For me, right? So what are we really doing? Well, we're replacing fear with trust. Not just trusting God, not just trusting the program, but trusting you. You trusting you that, you know, and after a while, it will happen. I trust myself. Certainly I do. Because my intention isn't to ruin my life anymore. That's not my intention has changed. Okay. I seek solution almost 24 hours a day. Ask anybody that's close to me where we go through stuff together. You can ask my wife. I bring stuff up for solution. We don't need the blame and shame and guilt and all this other crap. We don't need it. Right? We can get straight to the solution. Takes a little while to work on that. That's okay. Babe, you know it's 2:09, right? Okay. See, we know each other's schedules. I didn't know she was leaving a little bit later. Right? So, what are some of the other benefits? Because now you'll pause before you react. Yeah. You can breathe and ground yourself, and you can ask yourself what's actually happening right now. Man, this is really gearing it towards. All right. So I'm gonna finish this up with my own words. But we've already covered a lot of it. Right. If you want peace of mind, if you want to live in the solution, if you want to be a part of what is going on, then you have to start living in the now and what is happening right now. Now, this is something that is practiced. It is not something that you just receive. So, what are we talking about here? Well, in this case, we're talking about spiritual progress. Depending upon a higher power. And we'll kind of end with this. The way to total independence is dependence upon a higher power. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out.